So, good morning to all. So, are you able to hear me? If yes, please type in the chat boxes.
Sir,
Good. Fine. The session is being recording now. Okay. All right. We'll start the first session on Lightning Web Component. Okay. So it took around like almost 15 hours session on web components. We'll see in different ratios. So majorly we will be concentrated on data binding in the Lightning Web Component. Okay. So we will start very slowly on the web component. Okay. Then let's see how it goes in the future. So today agenda, like I just want to discuss only with 5 topics today, not more than that, because I would like to slowly inject the web components into your brains. Because how it happens is, industry is expecting all rounders actually. Okay. Industry is expecting all rounders. So if you divide the sales force, if you understand the sales force, two things are there majorly. One is back-end developer and another one is front-end developer. Front-end developer means the developer who develops the user interfaces. We call them as a front-end developers. Might be you are using the Visual Force pages or Aura components or Lightning Web components, no matter. You becomes as a front-end developer. So back-end developer means like you work on Apex coding part. The triggers might be visual bad job or something related to the coding stuff in the backend, which is controlling, bringing data, controlling that data, supplying that data to the front end, whatever it may be. That controlling part is always comes under as a backend part. Either you triggers, Apex code, bad job, you know, those things all comes under as a backend coding stuff. So the market has been decided. If you want to opt it as a career as a the backend developer or opted as a front end developer, your wish. But there are two types of companies are there actually. Service oriented companies are there and product oriented companies are there. So majorly in India, we are having like, service oriented companies or, major we are having like almost like 90% service oriented companies are there. So those service oriented companies means like TCS, Cognizant, Infosys, Techem, Mindtree, etc. These companies are expecting all-rounders. That means if you are a developer, you should touch in both front end and back end. But as per our the switch students, they're very good at back end. When it comes to the part of a front end, okay, they're facing some difficultiness. So that is the reason. Okay, forget about your Visual Force pages and Aura components. Think only about the web components from today onwards. Okay, at least. So at least I believe, you have to create a web component and you have to control some certain things from the web components. Right? So that's what I'm expecting from you. Okay. So by this 15-hour session on the web components. So I believe you can see my screen. This is our today's agenda. We'll talk about the Salesforce user interfaces, and the history of Visual Force pages, Aura components, and web components. And then I'll introduce the web component for you. And I'll show you how to set up. Then we'll try to create a hello world program today itself. Enough, not more than that. Okay. Slowly, one by one, we will capture and we have to make it very success. Okay. So as you know, when it comes to the part of a Salesforce user interfaces, You know about classic and the lightning experience. You already experienced these two interfaces, but it's a right time to expose you one more time again. Okay. So, the Salesforce, whenever the Salesforce came into the market, like around that 2000, like that, they came up with this classic interface. Classic is majorly for desktop related kind of browser based application. Majorly Salesforce is a web based application. You might aware. So let's say how you are trying to log in every day through web only, right? Login.salesforce.com. Or else if you have a specific domain, you're going to be logging like this, right? So this is a web based application. So you know when you log into this web based application, you can see two interfaces, as you already know. So here you can see a Salesforce Classic. This is a classic version, okay, and it is for desktop browser kind of a stuff. This is not for mobile perspective point. In industry, people are not using the classic. They already migrated to the lightning experience. Why? Already we have a classic, right? Why we migrated to the lightning experience? Because the business has been changing. Nowadays, my end users are using, lightning. My end user are using the mobiles very rapidly. They're using small screens when compared to the larger screens because those are easily movable, right? Now, I want, I want my application, my business need to be run in the small devices as well. So whatever the code I have been implemented, whatever the application I have been built, it should be adaptable to the small screens and large screens. But I will write code only once. In olden days, people develop application for large screens separately, for small screens separately. Small screens means I'm talking about mobile perspective point. But later it has been changed. Okay. And we are developing only one code, one source code. Okay, one application will be flexible for all the screen resolutions. At what time? Whenever the lightning came into the picture. Okay. So now the end users of the Salesforce can experience two user phases. One is classic and another one is for lightning experience. Why? Because people will ask you the most question. Your web components is only works on lightning experience. You should aware about the clearly about classic and the lightning part. Classic is meant for desktop browser. Lightning experience is for all screen resolutions and very compatible and very richful in the interfaces. See how richful it is, it look like, right? So this one will be loaded very easily as well. So that is that is the power of this lightning experience part. And you can see the experience here. Okay. If I bring you some certain things about the lightning experience, this is nothing but an app menu. So still people are confused about explaining about the you know the walkthrough about the lightning experience part. This is very very important. People, I have seen most of the people are using the classic. No, please migrate to the lightning experience. So try to explore that one. I see still people are creating the objects in the classic. No, please try to create certain things from the lightning experience because navigation is something different when compared to the classic. Even the metadata, from where you use classic or lightning experience, from where metadata you are creating, it's a common, of course, it's a common, but there is a slight difference in the navigation part. So please go with that. So this is the app menu. So you can see all the apps here, what are available. You can launch your applications, whatever you want. Okay. So this is nothing but an app launcher. So from here, you can launch your applications, and these are nothing but a tabs. Okay, these are nothing but a tabs. So you can click on any one of the tab, and you can access that some certain things respected to the object. Right? This is nothing but app launcher, and this is nothing but a tab bar. On tab bar, you can show the tabs, right? So when I click on any one of the object tab, I can see this is nothing but a list view. See, in Lightning experience, list views are different types of list views are there. You can see the table list view, Kanban list view, split view list view. Okay, three types of list views are there. But in Classic, you have only one tabular list view. Let's figure it out. You try to figure it out what exactly the Kanban, what exactly the split view. Because by looking into this, you have to design such kind of things in the web components. Let's say this is a list view. So many items are showing on the left side panel. So when you click on that, the information is showing onto the right side panel. That item related information. You have to develop such kind of things in the web component. So when you click an option here, I want to show that selected option related complete information. You just inspired from this, right? Another Kanban options are there. You can, apply the roll up here. Sorry, you can summarize the data here. See, it's showing something information you can drag and drop. Okay. So you can drag and drop and release here. So many things you can do. It is a Kanban, it's a drag and drop option here. It will categorize the data. This is a one kind of a list view. You know what my intention here is. You cannot achieve such kind of a things inside a Classic, but you can achieve that kind of a things inside a Lightning experience because of end user flexibilityness, right? So we have to develop such kind of a things by using of your web components. Earlier we have tried with the Visual Force pages and Aura components. Let's try with the web components now. And you might aware of this setup, right? You might aware of this setup, and from this setup you can manage all the metadata related stuff. On Object Manager, you can manage all the object related metadata related stuff, right? You might aware of all these things. I'm just memorizing you. Now, coming to the point. Now we have a clear information about the Classic and the Lightning experience. And I have a goal that why should I go for Lightning experience only? Because I develop an application, I develop a code one time, it could be flexibility to all the screen resolutions with a very lightweighted code. So that only happens in the Lightning experience. And whatever the web component you develop, okay, that is only launchable on the Lightning experience, not on Classic. Now, let's memorize you about the Visual Force pages, what we have been done. If you see this Visual Force pages, whatever the stuff that have been deal earlier with the Visual Force pages, the page, the name itself, it is saying visual. Visual means UI. Okay, visual means UI. Visual Force page is a tag-based markup language that's similar to the HTML. Visual Force pages are, app-centric kind of structure actually. App-centric means everything has been defined in the same page. Like either you write a HTML code or Visual Force page related code or script or anything else. You will write only in the same screen. All the things will be loaded at once in the Visual Force pages. Every time you can connect with a server with the Visual Force pages. Okay, coming to the straightforward. Why we use Visual Force pages means I want to develop a UI on the classic. I want to use this technology, Visual Force Page. I repeat, I want to develop a UI screen on the classic. Means I have one option. That option is nothing but a Visual Force Page. Whatever the tags you write, whatever the tags you write, okay, these tags are at the end finally mapped with an HTML. HTML means hypertext markup language. That is a browser understandable language actually. With that HTML, we can create a dynamic or static web pages. To develop a web pages, we use this Visual Force Pages. I repeat, to develop a web pages, a user interface in the classic, we use Visual Force Pages. So it is look like a markup language. That's what we learned and we tried it as well. And we came to know there are many ways we have created a Visual Force Pages. Many ways we have created a Visual Force Pages. So many ratios we have been used the Visual Force Pages. We have given it as a tab, we have given it as a button, we have given it as an inline Visual Force Pages on the home pages, as a links, as a list views, right? As a related list view. So many things we have given our Visual Force Page onto the Lightning experience part. See, these many pages we have been developed on the Visual Force Page. If you memorize it. Like this. Right? Like this we have been developed. You know what happens? This is a code that what you write in the Visual Force Pages. It will be mapped towards the HTML, conversion towards the browser HTML. That means you wrote with some other language, it has been redefined again. It has been mapped with the HTML. Understand why I'm stretching this point means your web component is straightforwardly HTML. Okay. There is no mappings or such kind of things. So your web component is directly understandable by your browser. Okay. These are conversions actually. This one will be converted to again. This one will be converted to again. You won't believe me. Let me see. So this is a tag, Apex page tag, right? Click on view. This is a Visual Force page. Right click, inspect element. See what is the code I have been written? I wrote page block section, input field, Apex input fields. If you see this, what it came? Table, body, div, these things it came, right? That means the input field, input type hidden. That means what? I wrote in the Visual Force page, it has been mapped to the HTML related stuff, which is understandable by the browser. There's a conversion, time-taking process is there again, right? But when it comes to the part of web component, it is a straightforward. That's why it is very lightweighted. We'll come to that one. Okay. So like this, we will write a Visual Force Pages and we can launch it onto the classic part. Okay, wherever you want, you can show it. If you know about Visual Force Pages, that is good. If you don't have about the Visual Force Pages, very happy, leave that one. But one thing you have to be remember, if I want to be develop a UI on the classic part means you have an option of Visual Force Pages. Now, coming to the point of Lightning Aura. I mean, Aura component framework. Still, industry is using Aura component. Why? Because still web components are in the beta version. No need to be worried. Okay. Still, industry is using Aura component framework. Okay. But industry want even the people who works on the web components as well. If you're facing difficulty in developing the components in the Aura, give up. No worries. No problem. You strive for only concentrate on web components. No worries. See, Lightning Aura component has been introduced in 2014. So, this Aura component is not developed by the Salesforce. I repeat, these are open source actually. Salesforce has acquired this framework. Okay, Salesforce has acquired this framework. And they started using this one because if you see, Facebook has their own framework. Twitter has their own framework. Google has their own framework. Salesforce is also a vendor. It's a cloud-based vendor, and they are developing their web-based applications in the cloud part. They don't have their own framework. So since from the mid of 13 and 14 at that time, Salesforce has introduced their own frameworks. That framework is nothing but an Aura framework. At that time, Salesforce has acquired, Aura framework. They acquired Aura framework and they introduced into the Salesforce. This Aura framework is very lightweight, very simple in structure. Okay. At that time, it is an open source, but it could be only flexible in exposing of Lightning experience only, not more than that. Not more than that. And that too, it is an event-driven mechanism. Through events, okay, we can communicate. And it's a client and server based kind of a stuff. This is. Okay. So by using Lightning Aura components, we can develop a UI on the Lightning experience that it is a single paged application. It is a single page application, very reactive. Okay. With respect to the mobiles and desktops, right? Aura is a framework. This is not developed by Salesforce. They acquired it. Okay, they acquired it. And that too, it is an open source actually. And they started using. So at the time of 2014, the web standards are not that much of high. You got it? At the time of 2014, okay, the web standards are not that much of high. So we are using this one actually. Okay. So we have been developed a UI on the Lightning experience by using this Aura framework. And you can see that here as well. When you come here, when you click on Open Lightning Resource, see, these are the Lightning components that what we have been developed. Right? Again, it is a Aura component structure, and this one is also again redefined into the HTML part when it comes to the part of a browser. Right? Of course, it is very lightweight, but it is not that much of, it is not what we can say. So this is not capable to deal with the web standards at that moment. Okay. And that too, it is an outdated part. Now it is outdated. So now Whenever LWC has been introduced, the Salesforce is not giving that one as an open source. Now, no longer open source. So by using Aura component, you can develop the beautiful screens, very lightweighted, with a single, with a single code, you can develop the application for mobile and the desktop at a time, and with a less code only. Okay. That's what we have been done. We have been created multiple Lightning Aura components. If you see, right, multiple Aura components that what we have been developed. Okay, even we have been connected. How we have deal the Aura components means first initially we have been concentrated on data binding part. Data binding means how we are creating the Aura component, where we are using that Aura component, how end user is launching the Aura component, and how the end user is entering the data into the Aura component, and how the Aura component is handling that data and pushing that data to the server. And later we have been concentrated on the server side, we have a data, and how we are bringing that data onto the UI part. By using Aura components, we have been deal that one majorly. And now, and next what we have been concentrated is, there is a parent component and child components, how these both are communicating. How you are passing a value from parent component to child component, and again, child component to the parent component, like that. And again, we have been discussed how your Aura component has been communicated with your Visual Force page. Yes, we have deal that one as well. That concept is nothing but a lightning out, right? So all these things we have been seen in the extreme level in the Aura components. We'll see the same things in the web components. If you feel difficulty in the Aura components development, if you don't know about how to do such kind of things, forget about it, no worries. Concentrate only on the web components. Slowly, I will slowly inject these web components into your brain. Trust me. But follow the certain things that what I have been saying to you. Okay. Practice is very, 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 very important for us. Okay. So I see most of the people are doing mistakes by watching my videos. Okay. And spending much time. No, you're already spending time in the class. It's enough. Now you start explore yourself. Let's see how it look like. Right? So we developed on Classic, we developed on Lightning experience. Now, again, the Salesforce has introduced the web component for you. Now the Salesforce has been introduced a web component for you. So Lightning web component is a modern framework, which is very lightweight. And this has been built on web standards. Now the Salesforce becomes as a web standards actually. This is the own framework which is developed from the scratch level by the Salesforce. I repeat, Aura is not developed by the Salesforce. They has been acquired. That means some company has been developed the Aura framework. Salesforce has inherited that one. But when it comes to the part of this web component, it is developed by the Salesforce only. And this web component is a modern, a lightweighted framework that has been built on the web standards. I repeat, what exactly the web component, Lightning web component means. Lightning web component is a modern, lightweight framework. I can say what? Modern, lightweight framework that builds on the web standards. And these web components are launched in 2019. Okay. And but still it is in the beta version because Salesforce is adding more options for you, okay, to make leverage the less code. Okay. And you can see that why we need this LWC over Aura components. Because we know Aura components has been launched in 2015. At that time, web standards are not that much of capable. If developer want to develop the large scale web applications, okay, they need to, compile their engines actually. At that time, the browser is very slow because this Aura framework is converting their coding stuff into the browser related, you know, coding stuff as HTMLs. That kind of rendering options, of course, it is a very lightweighted, but there are some issues with the rendering problems actually. Okay. And when the site is loading actually, when the website is loading actually, sometimes it does not create the elements as well. It could be a problem actually. Right? So in this case, if you see this chart, right? Salesforce now concentrated on their own development of the framework. They came up with the web components. Actually, they attracted the web stack developers. This LWC is a web stack development part, which look like AngularJS. But here, if you see the AngularJS is a typed script actually. AngularJS is using the typed script. It is also kind of AngularJS, but it is using a typed script. And this is a web component, which is using the modern JavaScript. See, if you see this texture, I'll come to this texture again. This import and export, manipulating of all these things, it is related to the AngularJS kind of structures for a web component. Okay. If you know the AngularJS, that is very good. You can simply work on this. If you don't know AngularJS, very happy. You can start from the scratch by involving with the modern JavaScript. The beauty in the web component is you will write only less code, but you can gain the more functionality. We will write less code, and it is a more, you can gain the more functionality. This web component will show better performance and better security and having the more standards, and it provides some more productivity, okay, in terms of creating the DOMs. I repeat, okay, these web components showing the more better performance because the code, whatever you have been written in the web component, that can be easily recognized by the native web browsers engines and very fastly loading stuff. Very fastly loading stuff. See, at the time of 2014, see here, data services, UI component, component model, running optimizations, these stuff that what we have been done in Aura framework. And these are the web stack part in 2014, right? These are the web standards actually. These are the handled by us, and these are the handled by the web standards. Later in 2019, web components template structure came. Web components template structure, this is a web stack development. That's why AngularJS is also comes under as a web stack development. LWC is also comes under as a web stack development. Okay, that's why we have a web components, template structure, custom elements, shadow DOMs, modules. So this is the JavaScript that what we are using. ECMAScript 7 we are using. Okay, that comes under as a modern JavaScript. Okay, these are the stuff. So at that time only, 2019 only, the web components has been introduced. And these are the certain things that we need to be handled in development of component design. And it is very secure now. Earlier, earlier, Aura components are not secure. Okay. One second, let me clear all this stuff. Someone has writing on my screen. Earlier, Aura having some issues with the untyped scripts. That's why Salesforce has given some locker services. Now the web component is more secure. Now the web component is a more secure. Actually, they came up with a Lightning web security as well. They came up with a Lightning web security as well. Okay, anyway, you're going to know much about this framework in the next coming sessions. Today is only the introduction part for you about the web components. Okay, and so if you see these options that what we are having on the screen itself, okay, majorly you have to be think, because we already have the Aura. Why should I go and use this LWC? The only one thing, Aura is not the web standard part. Okay, and Aura is not built by the Salesforce. And whatever the code you write in the Aura, again, that should be mapped with the browser engine code, browser codes related engines. Loading part will taking time. Okay. Now, web component came to the picture. Whenever web component came to the picture, it's already part of a web stack development. It's a template structure, right? So the code is already predefined with the browser related stuff. So again, no need of remappings or anything else. So it's a very fast loading part. So that's why the people who is developing their own web applications or, community sites or whatever it may be, site-based applications, they're directly going with this web components. Okay, that's why industry has been accepted these web components, and you should be concentrated on the web components as well. Okay, as you know, web components is a open source. People says that open source is nothing but and free. No, not like that. Open source means you can see the code. Open source is nothing but what? It's not free of cost. Okay, open source is nothing but the source code is available for you. Okay, I'll put you on mute. Getting some noise. Okay. So many people thinking that open source means it is free of cost. Of course, but open source, the exact meaning of open source means the source code is readily available for you. You can open that. You can see the source code of LWC in these repositories. Okay, you can see the code. This code only we are using in the real time. Okay, it is a open source. Aura is also open source, but now they are not giving any updates on that. It becomes as a read-only mode. Aura becomes as a read-only mode. People are not using that one now. Okay, and you can find the more updates on this LWC in day-to-day wise. And one more thing is, I cannot use Aura component in other frameworks. But I can use web component in the other frameworks. Like there's someone has using the website. I can directly include these web components there. But your Aura component does not expose it like that. Because it is not a component based. It is not like it is not kind of a web component based, actually. Okay. Coming to these points, actually. So people will ask you, what is LWC? Why LWC came to the picture? We already have the Aura. What are the benefits? Is LWC open source or not? People will ask you. You just follow my video and find out some resources okay, in the Google something and find it out. And you should aware your web component supports a JavaScript actually. We can call it as a modern JavaScript. It comes under as ECMAScript 7. Okay, from 7 onwards, it is increased. Now it is like, it is a 9th version, I believe. As like your Apex classes, in Apex classes, we have methods, variable declarations, right? Inheritance concepts. Similarly, here also you can find it classes, modules, promises, decorators, web components, custom elements, shadow DOMs, templates, all this, stuff you can find it out. I repeat, you can find the JavaScript kind of a coding part. It's a modern JavaScript. We will write very less code and gain the more functionality part. Okay. Let me exit this. Right. So in Lightning Web Components is supported by the JavaScript. Okay. It's a kind of modern JavaScript. And, it is a kind of a class textures, modules, promises, decorators, web components, custom elements, shadow DOMs, and the templates. We are going to use all this stuff in the next coming sessions. Now, coming to the part of a setup. Till now, what we have been discussing is all this discussed is a theoretical part. No matter how much stuff you are injecting into your brain. I always concentrate on the practical stuff only. Okay, because we are developers, we should need hands-on experience. We need some hands-on experience, right? So these are the prerequisites. To start about the prerequisites, people should aware of using JavaScript, first of all. HTML, CSS, all these areas you should be experienced. Just give me a second. Yes, I'm back. All right. Right. So technically, people say that, boss, I don't know about JavaScript. I don't know about HTML, CSS. Please, better to learn that one actually. Okay, I will upload the HTML, CSS, JavaScript related videos today itself in the drive. You please find it out and try to work out on that 2 to 3 days. Once you get the knowledge, then start working on the web components. Okay, no worries. Already you have my videos. You can find it out. No problem in that. Now, coming to the point, to develop a web component, you need a setup actually, right? So what is the setup means? First of all, you need command line interface, because most of the project you can run with the commands actually. Okay, so you need a command line interface. So how you can go with that command line interface means, this is a link. I would like to copy this hyperlink. Simply come here, or else you can type like this: developer.salesforce.tools. developer.salesforce.com.tools. Here there is an option called Salesforce CLI. Click on this. Right? We can call it as SFDX. SFDX means Salesforce Developer X. Developer X. X is nothing but an extension. That means developer extension. Okay. So the Salesforce CLI. So if you are using the Windows, you can download this one based on your processor. If you're using a Mac, click on this and you can download. If you're using a Linux, you can use it. But I'm very hands-on on the Windows. I'm not aware of Mac and the Linux. So if you are using the Windows, if you are facing any problem in installing of Salesforce CLI, I can be helpful to you. But I am not about these options, right? You just click on this. It's a simple software. You can download it and just click on next, next, next and finish. It will be installed. So see, when you click on this, a software will be downloaded. Once the software has been downloaded, double click on that. Okay, it shows next options. Click on those next options and enough. Your Salesforce CLI will be installed. So once the Salesforce CLI has been installed, you have to check your system is using Java SDK more than of 11 or not. Okay, then only it could be very flexible. So there is an option called command prompt, CMD. We can call it as a command prompt. Once a CLI has been installed, you type like this, SFDX, enter. If you see such kind of an information, there is update version is available. Okay, I'm using a little bit of low version. Okay, more updates came. I can update that version, no worries. I will do it later. Okay. So if you see such kind of information, when you type SFDX, that means, right, SFDX has been installed successfully and now we can use and now we can use that one as well. How simple it is, right? You understood, everyone, how to install the command line interface? Do you have any doubts? You can ask me. I don't bother about this theoretical part. I only concentrate on this practical stuff. Did you understand, everyone, how to install the command line interface? You just simply type like this, because you are always aware about this developer.salesforce.com. Every day we are seeing, and just give like a tools, enter, and you can see there is an option called SFDX. Tools, enter. You can see an option called as Salesforce CLI. Just click on this option and choose your the supported operating system and just click on this link. A software will be downloaded and just open that software and try to install it. Once the installation has been done, try to check here. Type like this, SFDX. So if you see such kind of a message, it has been installed successfully. Okay. And some people, cannot see such kind of an information message. It's saying that SFDX is not supported. Sometimes it says that SFDX is not supported. Then you have to check about your Java, whether you have a Java option is there or not in your system. You have to check that options. Okay. And now you just open. Can I open? Okay. So there is an option inside your laptops that is called as environment variables, right? Environment variables. Here, there is a path. In the path, just keep your SFDX actually. Let's say, for example, if I go here, see program files, whenever you install a CLI, this folder will coming into the picture. When you open this folder, there is a bin option. In the bin, these options are very important. So I need to copy this path, open your system environment variables, select your path like this, click on edit. Okay. Click on new, enter like this, enter that stuff. Okay. Whatever you copy, enter that stuff and click on save, so that you will come to the picture like this. That is very important. If you're not seeing, when you type like this SFDX, enter, if you're not seeing these kind of messages, then what happens is, might be it's a problem with the setting of your path. So how you'll set your path? Click on this C folder, go to the program files. Here you can see the SFDX. Come here, click on bin, copy this path like this, copy it, open your environment variables like system properties. You have environment, you just type here environment variables, that's it. You can see an option like this, click on that. Click on that, these environment variables, and try to add it here on the path. Okay. Or else there is an option called system variables. Here also you can apply. Here also you can apply. I applied on the both. And Java also, see, I have been applied. Java also I have been applied. So most of the people who works on the data loader part, at that time we have showed you how to use the Zulo JDK, okay, setup. Okay, that could be very helpful to you. So once the SFDX is readily available for you, the next step what we are going to do it is, we have to write the code, right? See, if it is a visual force page, I can use the developer console. If it is an Aura component, I can use developer console, but it is a web component, right? I cannot use this developer console. Okay, I have to write code somewhere else in the IDE, somewhere else in the editors. Then I have to be pushed to the Salesforce. So that Salesforce has been using this Visual Studio Code. You can copy this one. So, or else you can search in the Google like this, Visual Studio Code, enter. This one, Visual Studio Code. You just click on this option. Like this is a software. Okay, we can call it as an IDE, Integrated Development Environment. Here you will write a code. The code will be stored in the locally in your device, and you can sync that code with your web into your Salesforce. How beauty it is. Till yesterday, we have written a visual force page and we have written Aura component. All those two things directly we have written in the server. But this time we will write code in the locally in my system, in my laptop. Then I sync that code to a server, right? That means the code is available in my local machine now, not directly in the force.com server. Anyway, just click on this link. A software will be downloaded. Once you downloaded the software, you can see a Visual Studio Code option here. When you double click on that, a folder, a framework, I mean this Visual Studio window will be open like this. Okay, this is the second step. The first step is you have to go with the Salesforce CLI and check whether you are using the Java more than of 11th version or not, or Joomla SDK. So if you already performed Apex data loader in your laptops, then installing of Java is not required for you because it's already available in your system. Then next, the third thing you have to deal about is Visual Studio Code. Now we are having the Visual Studio Code. A new Visual Studio Code, a window is opened here. Now what else? Now this is very, very important. Install Salesforce. What is this? Extension package. What is that? Install Salesforce extension package from the Visual Studio. From the Visual Studio. So that means when you are here, right? So there is an option called extensions. You are seeing on my screen, extensions. Click on this extensions. So you can add some extensions. Extensions means what? These are browser, right? We add some plugins to the browsers. You might have it. Do you know how to add extensions to the browser? We already know, right? You have been added some Instagram plugin or WhatsApp plugins. We'll add it, right? See, like this color code plugin I have been added. Like this, I can add multiple extensions. See, I added these extensions. See, simulator extension I have been added, right? So like this different types of extensions, you can add it to your browser. Similarly, you can also add multiple extensions to the Visual Studio Code based on your accessibilities. Okay, now coming to the point here, what this deck is saying is install Salesforce extension pack. What is that? Salesforce extension pack. You come here, you click on this extensions tab, point out here in the search bar, you search like this, Salesforce extension pack. Here you can see Salesforce extension pack. I already installed to my Visual Studio Code. So that's why it is not showing the install option here. But when you select this option here, you like this, it shows the install options for you here. When you click on that, okay, the Salesforce extension will be installed. It took some time. Okay, it took some time. Why this extension? Because this extension will have readily available some certain things. SFDX is readily available. You can create Aura components, you can create Visual Force Space, you can create, Lightning Web Components, whatever the stuff you want, you can create it. See, like this, here you can see. You can write a program. Okay, you can write a program, you can create test, you can create web components, you can create Aura components directly by this extension. What it has, this extension will cover Apex classes, will cover all this stuff, Apex class related stuff, command line interfaces, Aura component, web components, and query related stuff. Okay, this is very important. This is given by the Salesforce. It is extension package, open source. You can directly use this one to your Visual Studio Code. That is a mandatory stuff. You have to do it. What is the first step? Command line interface. Second thing, download Visual Studio Code. Third thing, to that Visual Studio Code, you have to add the Salesforce extension package. Right? Salesforce extension package. Now, after doing that, take some time, because always it takes some time to reload this stuff. Now you have to check here. You have to type like this, SFDX. If you see these options, that means now your Salesforce CLI and this extension has been synced up now. Whenever your extension is ready, you can see such kind of a commands, SFDX related commands. Is a testing part. Whenever your extension is ready, okay, setup is ready, then only you can see SFDX related commands. Clear what I'm trying to say? So people says that, boss, I have been installed package, but still I cannot see this SFDX. Means you have to wait for the time being. Once it is installed, if it is possible, you please try to reload the framework one more time. Okay, because this is a software which is loading so many things, it will always take time. Okay, wait for the time. Right. So wait for the time. So you have to check your development environment is ready or not. So if you perform these 4 steps, now it is ready. Now you can develop your own Lightning web component. Okay. Now the setup is ready to work on the web components. Setup is ready to work on the web components. Let's see how we can create a Lightning web component. So to work on the Lightning web component, you should know how to create a project structure first, because we already discussed it, because we have written Apex code in the Visual Studio Code, and we have written triggers in the Visual Studio Code. Okay, not only in the browser level, I have been showed you to working on the Visual Studio Code also, right? And similarly, when you're working on the web components, we are working on the Visual Studio Code. Whatever the code you write, you want to be write. Either you write Apex code, either you write a trigger code, or Visual Studio Code, or Aura component, or a web component. You need a project first. How you create a project? Come here, click on this view, click on this command palette. Okay, there is an option called create project with the manifest. Select this option. See here, extension is activating. Let's wait. Let me try one more time. Command palette, choose this option, create project with manifest. On the bottom of the screen, you can see activating extensions. It is taking time. Let it take time. Yeah. So now I got a window here. You just select the standard. Okay. You just select the standard one option. Okay. And enter your project name. Okay. Enter your project name. I'll give my project name as switch this LWC sessions. I given all the small letters only. Okay. Enter. A folder will be created. I'm choosing my desktop. I'm choosing my desktop. Open this one. Right. So I will create a project here in this folder. Create project. Now the project is going to be created. A new window has been opened. Wait for the time. Okay. Let it load first. Let it load. Right. See, this is my project. So whatever the web components I develop, I'm going to be use this stuff. That means on the desktop here, you can see this one. Okay. And these are the project structure that what I have been created. And now from today onwards, whatever the stuff I have been developed about the web components, those will be available locally here. Those will be available locally here. Okay. That's what here you can see. Right. How I created a project structure, click on the view, click on command palette, just click on create project with manifest, wait for 2 to 3 minutes. You will get one window. You just give the workspace name, project workspace name, click on enter so that a project will be created for you. Right. A project will be created for you. Now, project is ready. Now, I want to create a web component inside it. Okay, I want to create a web component inside this actually. Do you know how to create a web component there? Very simple. Come here. Everything is small letters. Either you select this option, right click. Okay, not showing here. Create a lightning web component. Option is here. Right click, create a lightning web component. Option is here. Or else select this view, command palette. Okay, there is an option called create a lightning web component. Before creating a lightning web component, where you are going to create a lightning web component, in which arg you are going to create a lightning web component, you have to authorize it actually. Okay, you have to authorize. Let me add something option here. So you have to authorize the arc. See, the project is ready, structure is ready, but it is not authorized. To which arc it is, we have to authorize it, right? Now you just click on this option. Either you click on this option or click on view, click on command palette. There is an option called authorize an arc. Anything is there. When you click on this option, this command only will be executed. Or when you click on this command directly, this one only will be, right? Anything is fine. Just click on this option. See, it came here. Authorize an arc. This is my command. So which one you want? You are dealing with the developer edition, right? Developer edition is nothing but a login.salesforce. So before clicking on this login.salesforce, I would like to see my username. Let it load my user. This is my user. Is a system administrator. Copy this username. And you might aware of that password as well, right? Come here again. Again, try to click on this option. Choose this SFDX authorize an arc. Now you choose production login.salesforce and give the name. Okay, I will give SMB login. So next time onwards, I don't want to give again username and password. I'll just give this SMB login. Enough. It will be logged in directly. Click on enter. Now it is going for an authorize. It is trying to open a browser. Yes, it opens the browser. Let it load. Yes, it is asking for login.salesforce.com, right? So I will enter my username and capital BASS at 12345. Login. Right? It is asking. It's logged in. Now let me see here. What is the command? What is the information it is showing here? SFDX authorize and arc successfully ran. That means it has been successfully authorized. See this. Right? So this is a command, SFDX command actually. So, authorize web login. We have been done authorize web login here. Okay. This is a way how you do the authorizing the web login. Okay. This is a command actually. Without writing the command with the clickable options, we have been done. See now. So now this login has been available for us. Now this login has been available for us. Right? Now you try to create a web component here. Now you try to create a web component. Select this option, right click, or you just click on the view command palette and try to create a lightning web component. So better to give with a small letters. Okay. LWC. Okay. My first, else I'll write like this. My first LWC. My first web component. Enter. Where you want to create. Is this your folder structure? Yes. LWC is my folder structure. Click on that. See, first time we have been created our own web component. For the first time, we have been created our own web component. Now we'll discuss about the component folder structure because we know how to create a web component now. Let me explain about I will explain about each and everything, and I will show you the Hello World program today itself. Okay. So this is a component folder. Like for a web component, the folder will contain 3 files mandatorily. One is HTML file, another one is JavaScript file, and another one is meta file that is related to the XML part. HTML, hypertext markup language, because that is a web component structure actually. It comes under as a template structure. It comes under as a template structure. Here it says something like web components templates. See here, web components as a templates, right? So it is a template structure. It is directly understandable by your browser engines. No need of conversions, no need of mappings. What we are doing earlier with the Visual Force Page and Aura, it is a time-taking process. No need. Your system can directly understand. It is a template structure. Everything will be in the templated format. See this HTML file. Everything is in the template format. You can go with inner templates, okay, but it is completely a template structure. In the AngularJS also, the UI is a template structure format, because all web stack development related stuff will be in the template structure. So from today onwards, whatever the stuff you are trying to be developed, it should be in the template structure only. Okay. Remember, no matter whether whatever we discussed earlier, the theoretical, I don't bother about that. But practically, you should be concentrate. You should be completed today task of creating the setup and try to creating the web component and Hello World program and understanding the structure. Only these things I will look into you today, right? This is a template folder. So this is a template structure. This is a root tag actually. This is a root tag of template. Okay, how many files will be there? Majorly HTML file, JavaScript file, manifest file. What is this HTML file means? Here you develop the UI, buttons, tables, sections, whatever it may be. Your forms, you will create in this HTML file. You will create in this HTML file. It is in the template structure. Now, this is a JavaScript file. As I said, it is related to the modern JavaScript. Okay, modern JavaScript. Whatever the options you are going to be write, we will write it here. Whatever the certain things you are going to be write, okay, you will write inside this only. Inside this export. If you see import, export. Import means we are importing the lightning element. If you want to write a LWC structures, if you want to make this web component which is specifically related to the lightning part, means you have to use lightning element. It's a library. You have to import that library onto your program. Then you can use the references of this in your program. Okay, what is that? Lightning element. Lightning element. This is a library we have been imported. And this is the name of your component. And this component is extending this element. That means for this component, we are using lightning element. From where this lightning element came? From this LWC. This is an import statement. You need not to write anything else. By default, it will come. Import lightning element from LWC. It's a normal, general, common English language. And I want to use this lightning component, lightning element. So that's why this is my component name, which is inheriting the properties from this library. So like this extends lightning element. So in the next coming days, we are going to write so much of code in this JavaScript, only in this file. In the modern JavaScript, this is a JavaScript file. That's what here I said. Your component JavaScript file contains import and export. If you want to make your component as a web component, you have to extend this Lightning elements to your own component. Lightning element is a custom wrapper of standard HTML element that extends Lightning element to create a JavaScript class in the Lightning web component. This is what I have been said. Now, finally, there is a configuration file for us. It is a meta file actually. It's a XML structure actually. See, Lightning component bundle and having the API version and is exposed. Expose false means this web component will never visible into the lightning experience. Every time it should be a true. What? Every time it should be a true. Every time it should be a true. And there are some targets will be there. If you understand your visual force page, we have been shown the visual force page on the record detail page as an inline editor, as an inline visual force page. We have given visual force page to your buttons and actions, right? Similarly, we have been done the same thing for the aura component. We have been exposed aura component as a tab. Yes, we have been exposed aura component as a tab. We have been exposed aura component as a quick action. We have been put the aura component onto the record detail page directly. How it possible, right? We have been at that time, we have been given some interfaces. Based on that interfaces, it has been done. Here, we call it as a targets. We call it as a targets. Target, what target? See, you need not to write. The system will explain you everything. The framework will give you all the stuff. So these are the targets. Target means where you are going to be launched. See, I'm not writing anything else. Where you are going to be launched. I can launch this web component as an app page, as a home page, as a record page, as a Lightning tab page. Save. It's saved. To get a visibility of this web component in the Lightning experience, is exposed must be true. The target means where you are going to launch this web component. Okay, those things will be easily explained by this metadata file. Now in the HTML, just simply write like this. This is my first LWC, right? Save this one. I just wrote a normal information here, nothing more. Now, you want to push this web component, right? You want to push this web component to the here. Now, let us see, come here. So when you click here, here Lightning components. All these are Aura components only. These are all the Aura components that what we have been developed so far. There is no web component till now. Now come here, right click on this. There is an option called deploy. Deploy source to the org. What is this? Deploy source to the org. Just simply click on this option. See, ran successfully, right? What is the command that we use? sfdx deploy source to the org, right? Deploy source to the org. What are the files has been deployed? These 3 files has been deployed. The status is created. It's not updated. It is created. Now come here, reload. See this? not this one. This one. Okay. So this is the web component. This is the web component right now what I have been loaded 928, right? I have been loaded. I cannot see the code. I cannot see the code. Now I want to launch it. Let me launch as a tab. Click on this home tab. Click on this new Lightning component tabs. Choose your component, my first web component, LWC first component tab. See, I have been developed in the Visual Studio Code. No matter what kind of a design you did it. First, you create the project, you sync up with that arc, you created a web component, and you push it that web component. And now you're exposing to an end user now. Let's success in this manner first. See my first LWC component tab. When I click on this, see, this is my first Lightning web component by Switch Technologies. Not only like this, you just open this one. Open any one of the record. Edit page. Along with standard components, we are having the custom component. Here we are having the web component. See, my web component is showing on the page as well. On the record page also it is showing. How I show it as a tab, how I show it as a record page? Because of these targets. Because of this targets. Understand? Gain the knowledge slowly. No hurry worries. Okay. So today, what we have done is we learn theoretically about what are the Salesforce user interfaces, checking the, revising the classic part and the Lightning experience part and understand the differences and what exactly the Visual Force page are our components, why Salesforce has overcome those two and came to the web component we have been discussing. And we have seen what exactly the web component is and how to start working on the web component and setting the web components environment and creating the project, creating this program, okay, and importing that into your arc, right? Importing that into your arc and checking the results and giving to an end users. This is a part that what we have built. You can make it a great design here. It's simple. Right? You can put this statement in the div. You go here and type like Lightning design system. Now you have to use all this stuff. Adding, right? We already did such kind of things in the aura. this kind of a class I can apply here, right? Save, right? You want the card. See, these are designs of the card. Okay. So like this, you can apply. Okay. It will be a lengthy for you. I will show you tomorrow how to apply all these things. Or else you can directly use. There is a one more option I forgot to tell you. You type like this. Lightning component library. What is that? Lightning component library. Or you can directly find out from here. You're on the developer console, right? Yeah, this is the first session of your web component. Mahindra. Right? Here, there is an option called help. There is an option called lightning component library. Click on this. There's so many options are there. When you come here, see, you can add card. So we have did the same thing, right? Copy it. Come here. Paste it. And one more thing, I'll explain you all these things. Here, if it is Aura component, we are going to use a colon. If it is a web component, we are going to use the hyphen. Everything is already here predefined. You need not to write a single line of code. Okay. It will come by default. No worries. It will come by default. See how it look like. Code alignment is very, very important. Save it. Now again, select your web component, deploy to the source arc. Once it deployed to the source arc, try to refresh this one. See, right? Now we can able to do that. No worries. Okay. So from tomorrow onwards, okay, we are going to see the extensive level of web components, like passing inputs from client side to the server side and passing data from server to the client side, data binding mechanisms, how you are holding the values. See how we learn the Apex classes starting from the scratch level, right? Like declaring from variables, right? Then next we have been used the collections. Then we have been used the if conditions, loops, right? All those fundamentals we have been concentrated, right? Same stuff we are going to use in the modern JavaScript. No worries. I will show you how to handle the variables, how to handle the exceptions, how to control the loops, okay, and all this stuff, and how to pass the data from higher component to the lower components. Okay, what are the mechanisms, classes, and all these things we are going to be slowly injecting into your brain, slow by slow. Okay, no more hurry worries. Okay, at least to getting into the intro perspective of point, at least you should know what exactly the web component, how to create a web component, how to launch the web components, and what are the certain things are there in the web component. You should be aware because people are asking, right? Yeah, this is what I would like to deliver today. Okay, if you have any questions, you can ask me now.
Sir?
This is the first session of your web component, and it will be continue like 15 hours.
Hello?
Yes.
Sir, I'm Mahendra.
Yeah, Mahendra.
Sir, ఇందులో మోడర్న్ జావా స్క్రిప్ట్ కూడా చెప్తారా సార్ మీరు?
మోడర్న్ జావా స్క్రిప్టే కదా చెప్పాల్సింది ఇంకా.
ఓకే ఓకే. అంటే ఈ రోజే స్టార్ట్ చేస్తారు కదా క్లాస్ మామూలుగా నెక్స్ట్
ఈ
నుంచి
రోజే స్టార్ట్ చేశారు.
ఓకే
యా.
ఓకే
ఓకే.
ఓకే సార్.
యా. All right, I'll upload this video in the drive. You will get the link from the your relationship manager. Okay, let's see. Please be practice. If the group has been created, I'll post the trailhead link as well. You have to be followed mandatorily. Okay. Thank you, guys. Catch up
థ్యాంక్ యూ.
tomorrow. Yeah, I want everyone to be complete at least this one, because nothing is there right today. Only just showing the UI part. At least, please. Okay, complete. Thank you, guys.